Hello, I'm Sophia. After being married to James for 5 years, I finally became pregnant. Looking back, it felt like a long winter. I wanted a child, but it was difficult for me to conceive. Seeing other mothers with their children was hard, and my husband didn't understand my feelings. Sometimes he even called me a defective product. Our married life was tearful. When I found out I was pregnant, it felt like spring had come. However, instead of progressing into summer, it turned back into midwinter when my husband said something unbelievable. When the midwife congratulated us, my husband expressed his desire to get a DNA test for the baby. I was confused and asked why he would want a DNA test. He claimed that he couldn't be sure if the baby was his and questioned if I had cheated on him. I defended myself, stating that it was our child since I just gave birth to them. However, he insisted on the DNA test, saying he wanted to confirm. I couldn't understand why he doubted the paternity, especially right after the birth. The doctors and midwives were astonished by his behavior. I tried to reason with him, explaining that we struggled to conceive for 5 years, and his suspicions seemed baseless. He remained firm and even took out a toothbrush in a plastic bag, apparently prepared for the test. The doctor, puzzled, asked if I was okay with it. Frustrated, I questioned why he couldn't just be happy about the baby's birth. Despite my objections, he insisted on the DNA test to confirm the child's paternity. It was a confusing and upsetting situation for me, and even the doctor seemed taken aback by his request. I thought about what the doctor meant, and I realized that if the DNA test proved I cheated, I'd be caught. Since I didn't cheat, I figured it didn't matter either way. So when my husband insisted on the test, I agreed, saying, "If that's what you want, please do it." A few days later, the doctor reported the lab result to my husband, who had a grin on his face. The result showed a 99.9% chance that the child wasn't his. I was shocked by the unexpected outcome and looked at my husband, who gave me a cold stare. He confidently declared, "I knew it. I knew they weren't my baby." I protested, calling it ridiculous, but he insisted the result confirmed my infidelity. Despite my denial, he said he would divorce me as he couldn't raise a child that wasn't his own. He left the ward humming, leaving me bewildered. My parents, visiting their grandchild, asked about the situation, but I was as confused as they were. After being discharged, I went home to a cold atmosphere. My husband wasn't there, and some of his belongings were missing. I wondered if he came back occasionally to take things, or if he just took what he needed. Unable to comprehend the situation, I took his toothbrush for retesting and sent it in an envelope. I was determined to find out the truth within 2 weeks. Simultaneously, I called my in-laws to inquire about my husband's whereabouts, but they were clueless and expressed joy over the grandchild. Realizing he hadn't informed his parents or returned home, I wondered where he could be. The word cheating crossed my mind, and I recalled his past behavior. He wasn't happy when I announced the pregnancy, and he often came home late, talked to someone when leaving, and interacted with someone through line. I often tried not to worry about my husband's behavior, fearing it might affect my baby. I wondered if his late nights and interactions with someone online hinted at an affair. Was this the same man who called me a defective product? If he was having an affair, I had a lot to ponder. Over the next 2 weeks, I contacted someone to find out my husband's whereabouts. Frustration lingered as I continued to live with our child. However, when the lab results arrived, everything changed. The certificate stated a 99.9% chance that he was the father. I knew they would be his children, making the previous denial perplexing. The sample my husband handed in was a fake. I was angry and confused. Whose sample was it? And why did he deny parenthood? Even if he had another woman, abandoning his responsibility as a parent was awful. Fueled by anger and a sense of betrayal, I vowed not to forgive him for leaving our child. Determined to take revenge, I left my child with my parents and went to the apartment where the other woman lived. After being discharged from a hospital, I hired a detective to investigate my husband's infidelity and get a DNA test done. With the detective's help, I identified the woman's apartment and learned that my husband would be there. It wasn't a fancy apartment, more like a decently made one without much security. Thanks to this, I could easily reach the woman's room. As I rang the doorbell, she opened the door, scowling at me. When I revealed that I was Bill James's wife, she smirked triumphantly. Despite my anger, my focus was on confronting my husband, not the other woman. Since you haven't divorced him yet, you can still call him your husband. The other woman questioned my presence, accusing me of being thick-skinned for giving birth to a child from an affair. She insisted on talking to my husband about it and demanded he come out. I responded, telling her there was no point talking to a person like me, and she retorted, asking what I meant by "like you." I bluntly said to get my husband here, or I'd shout at him at the door, considering the neighbor's opinion. Disgusted, she called my husband from the back, and he appeared sloppily dressed. Surprised, he asked what was going on, and the other woman claimed she couldn't believe I stormed into her place. I explained that I hired a detective and found out he left home to live with her for 2 weeks. He accused me of cheating, but she interrupted, revealing they had just started dating 2 weeks ago. I dismissed it, stating that regardless, we were still married, and his dating someone else while we were married constituted cheating. I declared my intention to divorce him, emphasizing that the child born was undoubtedly his. He denied paternity, citing the DNA test results showing a 99.9% chance they weren't his. I questioned whose sample was tested, pointing out that the toothbrush he provided wasn't his. He insisted it was, but I revealed that when I returned home, I found his toothbrush there, not even new. I had it retested, and I slapped him with the test results showing a 99.9% match, proving they were indeed his children. I found it strange because I never cheated on you. You wanted the DNA test right after the baby was born, which seemed odd to me. Typically, people would be happy about the baby's arrival. However, there was something off about your behavior, and I felt it was better to have it checked. You questioned what was strange about your behavior, and I explained that you had been acting unusually, especially when you ran away from home and were with another woman. I suspected you were cheating and wanted to cover it up. You dismissed it as my guess, but I revealed that it had been properly tested and investigated. As I presented the lab results and investigation report, you seemed unable to say anything, contemplating your response. However, it was your other woman, Mary Allen, who unintentionally exposed the truth. Mary laughed, revealing that you had been dating her for a year and weren't happy about my pregnancy. She mocked me, thinking she had won by having you in her life. I questioned whose toothbrush you used for the DNA test, and Mary admitted it was hers. Acknowledging the deception, you confessed that you used Mary's toothbrush to deny the parent-child relationship, intending to divorce me. I pointed out that you were well prepared for this plan. While you seemed nonchalant about the situation, I expressed my discomfort. You then suggested that we were both free to move on and play around. I firmly stated that I didn't want to play around and that staying with a cheater would drive me crazy. In the end, you agreed to give me a divorce. Here are the divorce papers for you to sign. I'll drop them off at the city council on my way home. Can you sign them right now? Okay, I'll do it. We can no longer be related, is that correct? We can divorce, yeah. My husband happily signed the divorce papers, and the other woman also looked at them happily. After signing and sealing the papers, he handed them to me. Well, now we're divorced. I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad too, because now it's all clear. If this is how it's going to be, I should have just asked for a divorce instead of playing such a cheap trick. By the way, now that we're divorced, can you tell me the truth? Where did you two meet? It was a year ago, so I wasn't pregnant yet, was I? Well, you were getting depressed every time you had your period because you couldn't get pregnant. Gradually, I got sick of being at home. That's when I met her through social media. If you also want to get a boyfriend, SNS is an easy way to do it. Thanks, I don't think I want a man, but I'll keep that in mind. So, I guess you guys are going to get married in the future. Yes, aren't we, Bill? Yeah, that's right. We're going to be happy from now on. So I hope you'll be happy too. Are you? I hope you will. I said that and left the apartment where the woman and my husband lived. But getting him to sign the divorce papers wasn't the only thing I wanted. After leaving the apartment, I made a phone call to someone. I have something to tell you. I'll be there soon, I said with a grin and started walking. Now, I'm going to send you all to hell. This is where revenge starts. A few days later, my husband called me in a panic. Hey, what the hell is this all about? What do you mean by this? I mean, we're divorced. Can you stop telling me? Hey, shut up. I'm asking you. Wow, you talk to strangers like that. It makes me question your common sense. Just listen to me. I'll listen to you, even though I don't want to. I've got a letter from my lawyer. And what the hell is his compensation? It's compensation. How did you come across the idea of compensation? Because you were cheating on me, and it was proven that I wasn't cheating on you. But you've exposed that you were cheating on me, and your girlfriend was so polite, spilling the beans. But we did make sure that we would divorce, but we weren't officially divorced yet, as you signed them on that day. Also, you said you guys have been dating for a year. I said that, but that's not good enough to prove it is. I recorded it that day. What? I didn't blame you that day, as you said. I just left it to the lawyer. Why are you even asking her for compensation? Because she's the one you cheated on me with. It's common sense, isn't it? She knew you were married and had an affair with you, so there's no doubt that she is charged for compensation. Don't you feel sorry for her? I don't. Why would I feel sorry for her when she took my husband away from me? You can't be that heartless. That's just your imagination. I'm quite a ruthless woman. There's no way a 26-year-old girl could pay such a high amount of money. Then she shouldn't have taken someone's husband away in the first place. But she did, which means she must have had a strong determination to prepare thoroughly, don't you think? She didn't do anything wrong. Okay, are you kidding me? She did something wrong. Don't be stupid. Oh, for the child support, you have to pay it in one payment. How can I pay such a large amount in one payment? I don't care. Even if you pay in installments and I get paid every month, I'll be left with nothing if you bunk off halfway through. Then we'll be the ones who miss out on it. If that happens, I feel sorry for the child. It costs a lot of money to raise a child. But the baby isn't my child. So are you going to keep on saying that the lab result that came out with her toothbrush was correct? Stop it, or I'll sue you for fraud. Also, I'll let you know one more thing. Even if it's not your child, a child born during the marriage is considered your child under the law. So even if the baby doesn't have your genes, you will still be required to pay child support. Good on you. The baby has your genes. Okay, I'll pay, but not in one payment. If you don't pay all at once, I'll seize your salary. Seize my salary? It means that you will only be paid what you can live on. I'm serious. All right, I'll pay, but I never thought you were such a terrible woman. If I pay, I'll be done with you. It's going to make me feel better. Then that's right. This will cut off my relationship with you. But remember, you stabbed me in the back, so I'll take revenge. This isn't the payback I want for you. What do you mean? What the hell are you going to do? Hey, answer me. Bill is a timid man originally. I knew that this kind of threat would be effective. I said that because I thought he should experience a little fear. But he seemed to be afraid, and soon afterward, he borrowed money from somewhere and paid the child support money all at once. But the peace would not last forever because I was steadily preparing for the next bomb. One day, about a month later, the bomb was successfully blown up. I waited for the right time and contacted him. Then, as I expected, I heard a disappointed voice. Hello, you sound quite cheerful. Yeah, you sound disappointed. What's the matter? You know what? Mary got fired. Wow, did she? Yeah, I don't know why, but they found out that she was having an affair. She said that she'd never heard of anyone being fired for something as trivial as adultery at that company. But for some reason, they said her case wasn't acceptable. Well, there is no way that it's acceptable. Why? It's just an affair. It's something that everyone does nowadays. According to her, other employees had their affairs exposed but weren't fired. Why is she the only one who got fired? Isn't it because the other person wasn't the right choice to have an affair with? The other person, that's me, isn't it? Yes, it's you. That's why it's a problem. What do you mean? She works at the publishing company, doesn't she? Yeah. Do you know who the parent company of that company is? What parent company? No, I don't. It's my father's company. What? Are you kidding me? It's true. You seem to have forgotten, but my father is the president of a major corporation, and his company has a lot of subsidiaries, including the publishing company where she works. Did you tell them about what happened? Well, rather than saying that my father, who heard the reason for my divorce, knew where she worked and fired her, it's innocuous to think that way, isn't it? Did you tell him where she worked? No, I didn't. I just showed him the detective's report. Which means you did. You can think whatever you want. Hey, she worked hard. She's been staying in bed as she was so shocked about the dismissal. Please, can you ask him for the withdrawal of termination? I'm not going to do that. What makes you think I would do that? I've had a hard time because my family fell apart because of you guys. The pain she is facing is just nothing. It was the publishing company she got into at last. Well then, she can get a job at another publishing company, can't she? She's young, so she has that much vitality, doesn't she? Don't you feel sorry for her? No, I don't. You worry so much about other people, but it will be your turn next. What do you mean? The company you work for is also a subsidiary of my father's company, isn't it? No, don't do that. I owe a lot of money after I paid child support in one payment. I don't know what I'm going to do if I get fired. I don't care. It's your fault. You'll have to watch your neck. It would be a lot easier to fire you than it would be to fire her. No, I apologize. Please, please don't. It's too late to apologize now. You're the one who did that. The journey to hell isn't over yet. True to my word, Bill was terminated a few days later. It probably made his blood boil because he stormed into our house. Why are you doing this? It's too cruel. Thanks to you, I'm unemployed. How am I supposed to make ends meet when I also have massive debts? You abandoned me and our child, and you even made me lie about the DNA test for your child. You should deserve this much for what you've done. You're the one who drove me around the bend, and we had a child, and then you left them, saying they weren't your child. You're such an unheard of dumb parent. Is that so? I'm the only one who gets miserable. Don't think you can get away with that. Oh, I have the president of a major company with me. What do you have on your side? You have nothing. What can you do to me? You're going to regret doing this to me. You're the one who regrets doing all that to me, aren't you? I don't know what you're trying to trick me, but wouldn't you be better off looking for a new job instead of doing that? You're in so much debt that you can't handle it. It's not easy to find a new job. I'll make you regret it for sure. Just you wait. He said that with a frustrated look and left the house. However, a few days later, he did something terrible. While I was taking the groceries inside the house after shopping, he took my child away from me who was asleep in the car. I never dreamed that such a thing would happen. When I tried to bring the child into the house, I realized that they were missing. I was in a panic and searched around, but there was no one with the child. I immediately realized that it was kidnapping, but I couldn't do anything about it myself, so I contacted my father. He had the power to make the police take action quickly and were able to find the child right away. However, Bill, who was caught, claimed they were his child. This is my child. I just took my child. What's wrong with that? You know, even if they are your child, they are under your ex-wife's care, aren't they? Then you're not allowed to do that without permission. That woman took my child. I only went there to get them back. He repeatedly explained to the police officer, but he wouldn't admit that it was a crime. It was then that I got contacted. Without taking anything with me, I went to the police station to pick my child up, and I saw Bill talking to a police officer. He didn't look like the calm person he used to be, and now looked like an evil criminal. Why on earth are you doing this? Why? It's because you fired me, but that doesn't mean it's okay to take my child with you. What's wrong with taking my child with me? There's nothing wrong with that. They aren't your child, are they? They're my child. The lab results showed they were my child. That's why I took them with me. Because you took away my job and girlfriend, I thought you should suffer the same as we did. You're the one who started it, so it's not my fault. What a selfish thing to say. You cheated on me with another woman. What does that have to do with anything? I paid compensation money properly when we divorced, but you're still making us suffer. Then you should suffer too. You were fired because you had an affair. A police officer who was listening to the pointless argument interrupted. Is this man your husband? No, he is a stranger. This man claims that they're his children. He says that his wife took the child away from him without him knowing, so he only went to get the child back. That's not true. I think he is mental. Are you saying I'm mental? You've never even held the child since they were born. How can you say that they're your child? The DNA test proved that they're my child. I was disgusted by him bringing up the lab result of the retest that I asked for at that time. But when I was informed that he had kidnapped my child, I put something in my bag. He was talking about the lab result, but if I can prove that this child isn't his, then this case is closed, correct? Yes, if that can be done, then we can take him into custody as a kidnapper. Is this good enough? I handed a DNA identification form to the police officer for this child and this person. The document showed there is a 99.9% chance that they aren't a parent-child relationship. The police officer returned the document to me and handcuffed him. How cowardly. You said once they were my child. That lab test was false. It's a trap by that woman. He raised hell and was detained. However, further tragedy struck him, a breakup with his girlfriend. When she found out that he had kidnapped my child and was detained, she came to him with divorce papers. She said that his ex-wife was too insane. She was keenly aware of what would happen to her if she incurred my wrath. Besides, it's impossible to be with a man in the future who committed a crime unless you love him very much. Bill thought that a prison sentence on top of losing everything was no joke and offered to settle out of court. I accepted his offer because I was afraid that he might end up harming my child after he was released from prison if I did something that would cause further resentment. As a result, he had to borrow money to pay the settlement, and because there was also compensation and child support, the debt became a huge amount. After the case was dropped, he tried his best to get a new job. Since he had once been in trouble with the police even once, he could not find a job so easily. In the end, he could not find a place to work. To secure a place to live, he tried to return to his parents' home, but his family didn't accept him. He had nowhere else to go and started a life as a homeless man with no money. I, on the other hand, got a job at my father's company and I'm living happily with my child. I hope you guys enjoy our video. To watch more interesting stories, subscribe to our channel. Thank you.